There's an endangered species right there.
Coming back with a brand new video, and this time we're going to be making a video that some of you guys might find very familiar. Soloing hardcore that I released like around a year ago or something like that. This time we're going to be doing something very similar. We're going to be soloing the Pizza Party game mode. However, as some of you guys know, there is a secret badge for this game mode, the Lost Souls. Previously, this was impossible to do solo because you needed all 4 players to use these 4 specific towers: Scout, Commander, Minigunner, and Shotgunner. However, now that this game mode actually got rebalanced, it is possible to beat it solo. So let's go ahead and claim this secret badge with the secret reward it gives you. Before I say anything else, I need to clarify that yes, I did use consumables to beat this. Thankfully, not a nuke or any other epic equipment, since I really wanted to see if it was possible to beat it without using consumables, but it was just not possible. So these are the consumables I used on screen and how many I used, and frankly, they aren't really too hard to get since you literally just get free crates nowadays just every single time you complete a game mode or whatever. So these are the consumables I used. Just like the hardcore video I filmed and released like around 2 years ago, I think, which was titled something along the lines of I finally soloed hardcore. I'm going to be going ahead and talking about my experience and everything about this game mode and I guess the badge. Quite honestly, that video that I published was probably the most proudest video I have probably ever posted because that was the first time I had ever beaten solo and also gotten the badge for the very first time as a solo dude. So yeah, massive kind of flex there, but aside from that, that's my most proudest video, and just like that video, I'm going to be talking about my experience. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. But anyway, let's get into it. So first things first is that I didn't use any consumables at the beginning of this game, or pretty much the entire game until the very end. That's where you just have to spam like crazy, especially using the stun flashlight grenade, or flashbang grenades on the executioner doll dude, because he just has so much HP, and quite honestly, these flashbangs were very good to use against him. And secondly, this game mode was really not possible before this whole rebalance thing, because obviously you needed 3 other people to do it, and also because it was just frankly impossible to beat as a solo person. But now that they've rebalanced this game mode to where it is possible to beat in solo mode, it is in fact it is possible to get this badge as well as a solo person. Also, something else I have to clarify is, yes, I did use skills, I guess, those perk things to actually get a little bit more of an advantage, but in my opinion, I didn't really have too much of a big advantage because this was before the skills amount cost got like rebalanced to where you got your refunded money back. So I really only had my money perks being like around level 10, 13-ish, and also the troop capacity extension max. But to specify, the only troops I really did just spam were just scouts, and I think even if you didn't have this extended troop capacity perk maxed out, it wouldn't really make too much of a difference because scouts aren't the biggest DPS dealing damaging troops in this game mode. It's more or less the G minigunners, and of course you need these 4 specific characters to actually activate the secret game mode: the scout, shotgunner, commander, and minigunner, and of course they can be golden, which is very, very, very nice. And the 5th troop I basically chose was the mortar because there are just so many spam troops and you really need high DPS amounts of damage to really take care of them, and especially lead troops who just have that invincibility shield on them to where they literally have armadillo scales armor on them, so you really need like a high DPS damage on them, and ranger just didn't really work too well, so the mortar was pretty much the one I decided to choose. Now, to also clarify before I start talking about this again, is that I didn't look up any guides online to see if like I could beat this with like a specific strategy or something, so I have no idea if this strategy or this, I guess, tower selections I chose is very common to pretty much where everyone uses, but that's what I chose, and quite honestly it worked very, very well. There's not a whole lot to say about this this exclusive game mode secret thing, apart from the fact that I'm actually surprised that not a whole lot of people actually have this badge. And currently, as of recording this, only has 270,000 people like on the planet who have this, compared to 2 million who have the original normal badge. So that's an insane difference, okay? And something that I am definitely thinking about is getting the quick draw badge for the Gunslinger Badlands event thing. So I might do a video like that very soon because I'm actually tempted to get it since it's an even rarer badge to get at around 159,000 people having it. So I might do that very soon. But anyway, this game mode, quite honestly, there's not a whole lot to say about it. The biggest problems, or at least issues that I came across, was that these enemies, the lead ones, were just a total pain in the ass. So I really had to just devote a lot of money into the mortars, the commanders, and the G minigunners. And the G minigunners were really the key to just destroy these enemies. Also, there's this weird bug for some reason where the puppets, or at least I guess just the puppet minigunners, the enemy ones, they just for whatever reason start blasting at your towers, and after stunning them they will just continuously blast and not stun your towers, so you will just stand there as you can just kill them very easily. I don't know why this bug is still here. I think it is still here to this day, but I mean, it's an easy win, so I really wouldn't complain that much. And aside from that, there's not a whole lot to actually explain or go into about this whole strategy, apart from just the executioner puppet that comes like at what, like wave 35 or something. He was also a very big pain in the ass, since I think he just has an insane amount of shield just shield HP to where you have to take it down before you eventually start to deal actual damage to him. And then at the final boss fight, he also spawns with a bunch of spammed enemies, and especially the voodoo dolls flying enemies. And quite honestly, the voodoo dolls enemies were really what just kept on killing me at the very last part. I tried so hard to beat this without using consumables, but it was just frankly difficult, since these guys were so fast and also super beefy, to where mortars really couldn't just take them down easily fast enough. So that's where the UAV consumable came in clutch, because I mean, all of your towers can have flight and hidden detection, every single one of them. So activating this to basically take down any hidden and especially the flying voodoo enemies really just solved the problem very easily, especially when these UAV things are very common to actually get. And I know for a fact that people should probably be using nukes to make this abundantly easier. I just decided to make this without the nuke to see if it was possible, and I just barely won without a nuke. Now, I do think using a nuke is definitely much more preferred and downright more successful, and I will definitely do that in the Gunslinger Badlands game mode very soon. But not everyone has a nuke. But anyway, this game mode is not that bad, especially solo. And quite honestly, this new Warden skin at the very end is pretty nice, not gonna lie. That's pretty much it. Just watch this entire thing or skip to the end, don't really care. And yeah, I'm very accomplished that I was able to clutch another game mode as a solo person for the very first time, getting the badge as a solo person. Really defies me being, you know, a lone wolf in this game and not really relying on my teammates whatsoever.
numbers!